we've not been brought up to be in touch with our emotions. Vulnerability is felt as a weakness.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're watching from. Welcome back. Thank you for the love that you've shown me on the previous video that we did with Esha. If you had not watched the video, kindly go back to my YouTube channel. And if you're new here, kindly subscribe and hit the notification bell so that whenever I post a new video, you get notified and you'll be the first person to watch it. You can also share the link with your network so that we get to learn together and reach a wider audience together. Today, I'm joined by an amazing guest who is going to share much about well-being and mental health. And I'm going to give her time. She introduces herself so that we get to know her better before we get to the conversation. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Farida, for having me here. My name is Martha Monyeki, and in this platform I won't say much about what I am, the other titles, but the most relevant title in this is that I'm a self-development content creator on YouTube, mostly, and partly on Instagram. Yeah.
Wow. So I'm going to share your link and your username so that people will get to know where to get you and get to consume some of your, or rather much of your content, either on YouTube and Instagram. So from your introduction and from the videos that I've watched about you and the kind of content you create, it comes out clearly that you're very keen and you've really invested so much on the aspect of well-being and the aspect of mental health. And I can sum up your content and who you are to a theme of the self.
Yeah.
Yeah, and with that in mind, I'd really want to know why mental health?
Why mental health? Wow, that's a good question. But I started getting the idea of doing this content some times back. Actually, when I got to Mombasa, that was around 2018. I had, like, through my own experience and people close to me, I saw how important mental health is to you, like how it trickles down, it has a ripple effect on all the other aspects of your life. It affects how you perform professionally, it affects your personal relationships, and generally just all round. So if you're doing well mentally, you can rest assured that all the other parts of your life will do well. And so I felt this urge to share what I'm learning through the process, like through my own life experiences and others, what I know to others, and maybe it can be of help to someone. Yeah.
And that is very important. And I remember when I was in high school, sometimes you'll find that you're performing very well in a specific subject, or rather you've understood a certain concept better than the others.
Yeah.
But the more you keep teaching others and the more you keep helping others, you become you perform actually better and you understand the concept more. So what I'm getting from what you've just said is the fact that in as much as it is your personal journey, but as you are doing these videos, as you are having these conversations, as you're engaging people, it brings back to an increase in the percentage of how self-aware you are and how you really take the aspect of mental health and the journey of self-discovery on another level.
Sure.
That is so nice. Congratulations. So now that you've told us or rather explained to us why you've really invested on mental health, I'm so curious to know, is it really important?
Yeah, as I've just explained, it's not only important, but it's everything. Like, your mental health is everything. If you're not doing well mentally, you find even the most simple tasks daunting. Even something like brushing your own teeth. Like, let's say someone was, I'm sure like all of us, I guess, have gone maybe through a breakup, and you feel that period immediately after a breakup when you have like a mental breakdown. You feel like even the very minute tasks being so daunting. So you can imagine if this is a trend that is persistent in your life, the trajectory of your life will be affected because you won't be performing in any aspect of your life. So mental health is everything. Even as we work towards maybe self-development, pursuing our goals, at the core, we have to make sure that psychologically we are well. Yeah.
That is very important.
Yeah.
So from our generation, it is really sad. For me, I feel like it is really sad. The fact that we are a sad generation that is hiding behind happy memes, funny quotes, direct messages that we are sending to people via quotes.
Yeah.
And some of us will take it as a joke. Somebody might share something on their status. And for me, I wouldn't have taken it as a serious thing and comment in a funny way.
Yeah.
And then that other person will just respond to maintain that funny conversation or that conversation that makes us happy as a generation.
Yeah.
What do you have to say about that reality that is what is going on?
I once went through therapy, and there's something that my therapist taught me that stuck with me. She mentioned that we all have coping mechanisms, and sometimes wearing a mask is a coping mechanism. You find that actually statistics show, I'm sure, that most of the humorous people have deep psychological issues. There's actually a theory known as the theory of the mad genius that shows that the theory of the mad genius shows that people with psychological distress tend to be even more creative and more intellectual, because I guess I don't know exactly how that happens, but this is all to show how actually people use humor to mask whatever they may be going through. It can be a coping mechanism which is effective in the short term, but in the long run you'll have to find a sustainable coping mechanism, like maybe seeking therapy or maybe just cultivating the other aspects of your life that may be affecting your mental wellness.
Don't you think that the kind of environment that we live in, or the kind of environment that we maintain from our circle of friends, our workplace, our schools, and even our family, can shape or rather can direct someone to wearing a mask as a coping mechanism?
Yeah, I guess especially in the African society, we've not been brought up to be in touch with our emotions. Vulnerability is felt as a weakness. Actually, this is something personally I'm cultivating. I'm one of the least vulnerable people. Before I start talking to someone about my problems, I only wait for the phase to end, then I talk in retrospect, but I can't talk at the moment. But you see what that does to you is that you won't have a chance to preempt yourself, like to pour out whatever you're going through. So it's not a sustainable measure, but it's true. The environment we've been brought in affects how in touch we are with our emotions. But now that we know, we can do better, and it's time to start cultivating practices that actually propel us to the kind of behaviors we like to have.
With that, I'm challenging our audience and our viewers out there. Let us be very cautious and keen with whatever feedback we're giving to people, how we respond to matters that people are having, or when somebody shares something with you. Let's say I'm going through something and I'm like, Martha, you know what, this is how I feel, but how you respond to it actually matters, because if you ridicule me or you come back to me in a way that you're attacking me, that will make me now have a mask, so then next time I'll just be hiding a lot of things, and you'll be knowing a completely different Farida from the other Farida that you know. Or even someone might even shy away from sharing with you. And this also goes back to parenting. Now that I'm also very enthusiastic and keen about the aspect of education, and now the parents and teachers, it's very important how a child speaks to you and how you respond, and the kind of words you keep telling that child, and even a grown-up, and those people who've employed to our employees now, and even our employer, how do we respond and handle things? So I think it boils down to even the different roles and the different titles we have in our community. How do we speak to each other, and how do we address matters? And I'm very grateful for the fact that I took a journey with the Khan Foundation, whereby I was trained as a value-based education facilitator. So value-based has instilled in me an aspect of being keen on communication. So even before I give you feedback, Martha, I'll ask you, can I give you feedback?
Yeah.
You might have performed a task, and for you, that's a major win.
Yeah.
But how I get back to you, I'm like, you know what, Martha, you killed it.
Yeah.
But here, this, you didn't do it so well.
Yeah.
To you might have received it in another perspective, depending on where your mental space is as at that time.
Yeah.
But learning to ask someone now, can I give you feedback? That means I've psychologically prepared for your mind to receive anything.
Yeah.
If you say yes, that is where I can now break down to the key details.
Yeah.
And what I can also advise our audience to do is they can follow this flow of how to give feedback on. If you are having a conversation, if you've performed a task, you start with the connect. What did you connect with from that person's task? Martha, you did this and this. I connected with you when you did this and this and this. My other connect is this and this and this. But I felt there's a disconnect when you did this and this and this.
Actually, it's called the sandwich feedback formula. Whereby you start with a positive remark. We do this in Toastmasters Club. For those who know what Toastmasters Club, when you give speeches, there's usually a review of what you've done. Obviously, you start with a positive remark. What did you like about that? And then in the middle, you state what that person can improve. Not necessarily saying a negative thing, but what can they improve on. And then when you're finishing off, you finish with something positive. So that when you're starting, when you start with a positive remark, a person will be more at ease to receive the feedback. And when you finish off with the positive feedback, you leave it at a good space. It's called the sandwich feedback formula.
Thanks to people who are highly invested on the journey of self-discovery,
You
mental
too.
health. Now I'm getting these terms. It's important. Very, very important. And from that, do you think that our values and ethics and what we believe in as our moral principles can determine how we respond to issues that are affecting our mental health?
Yeah, actually, that is a very key point. And it is good to actually define what these things are. When you come to values, I used to hear people drawing terms in there, what are your values? And I took a journey to start to try to study how you can know your values are. And I actually read a certain book known as The Art of Not Giving an F. I can't use
it's the F word. It's the F word.
Yeah, The Art of Not Giving an F. So they were saying that one way of knowing your values is looking at what do you admire in others. Let's say I admire that Farida is confident. So even if I'm not confident, confidence is a value I hold. And one of the things that personally I know is that I look with so much high regard to people who are vulnerable. So that is a value I hold. And that value can predetermine how I'm going to work towards maybe improving my mental wellness by trying to adopt such values that I admire in others that I don't have. And also your morals, the issue of mental health is an all-round subject. You can't focus on psychological aspect alone. It's just the way when you go to the gym, if you want to get abs, you won't just do the sit downs. You won't just do the sit downs and expect to get abs. You have to do cardio, full body workout, HIIT to first get lean and then you get the abs. Same case with psychological well-being. If you focus primarily on the psychological well-being, but you're not cultivating the other aspects like your spiritual well-being, your physical, your maybe professional and social, you won't perform well. And that's where the ethics come in. You find that if you're acting in your moral values, let's say for instance you don't stand for maybe alcoholism, if you go past that moral holding, you'll find that you're even affected psychologically. You'll enjoy at the moment, but later you find that you regret because it's conflicting with your deep held values. So by cultivating even your spiritual well-being, by upholding your moral values, such all those will have a ripple effect on how good you are psychologically.
Wow, that is so deep. And I'm trying to internalize whatever you were saying, which is now getting me back to asking this question. Do you think that, or sometimes you might be affected psychologically or rather mentally, but you really don't know that you're not okay? And there's this saying that is usually put across: it's okay not to be okay. So you might feel like I'm not okay, and then you see people posting it's okay not to be okay. You tell somebody and then they're like it's okay not to be okay. They're not even breaking down whatever you're feeling or rather acknowledging the fact that this is what you're feeling, and how will you want or rather wish for me to assist you towards getting back to where you are, where you used to be, to the normal you, and even deciding to go to a better you. So I'm trying to connect whatever conversation we've just had to now. How can somebody know that they are not okay?
Personally, there are different things that I usually assess in my life to know when I'm not well. Like, let's say you can assess what do you, on a normal day, what would you typically do? Of course, maybe personal grooming. Maybe you will watch your favorite show. You will accomplish the task you're supposed to accomplish in the set deadline. But when you find that you're finding even the most menial tasks so daunting, like even washing utensils, you have a pile of utensils which you've kept for 3 days, it's time to assess whether you're actually okay. And also when you feel like you want to withdraw from people, because that is actually a sign of psychological distress, you tend to isolate yourself from people. And what that does to you is that the more you isolate yourself from people, you feel more lonely, and then the more loneliness trickles down to feeling more psychological distress, and the cycle continues. And also when you lose interest in things you used to love doing. For instance, now you're doing your YouTube channel, which you're so passionate about. When you start feeling like you're drawn away from that thing, or maybe even your hobbies, maybe you love going to swimming, you love going bike riding, but now you feel you're not interested in doing that anymore. You should actually assess yourself and also try to find the root cause. There are usually so many root causes to that. For instance, like myself, I'm not yet there, but I'm trying to be tracking my periods, because that is one of the factors that affect our psychological well-being, like the difference in the hormones, like the hormonal imbalances. Like you find that the week when you're having your menses, you're not there, you just feel
the attitude,
sijui nasikiaje, that state of sijui nasikiaje. So if you find that it's the menses, you just accept not to feel okay and let the period to end,
and then you
you get back. But when it is prolonged even after your menses, and maybe you have to dig deeper to what could be causing that, what is the triggering effect. And this is why I recommend so much for people to do journaling. I've talked about that in my YouTube channel. By journaling, you're taking an account on the daily basis of how you are in different aspects of your life, especially psychologically. So when you start noticing a shift in your moods, you can go back to your journal and track where it started, because it's not usually just an instant thing. Maybe someone at your workplace said something that brushed you off, or maybe just so many causes. So you have to find the root cause even as you try to get out of that rut.
What should be the next step after now I've realized I'm not okay?
There are different steps you can take depending on the severity of the issue. And one is to talk to a trusted friend. I can't emphasize enough how talking out, like a problem shared is a problem
half solved.
We know that title, that phrase, which is so common. By sharing and pouring out your heart, and especially to someone you're so comfortable talking to, who you can be completely vulnerable with without leaving any stone unturned. After talking it out, it's like you're offloading all those emotions from your head. And another thing, personally, I'm not so good at that, but if you're comfortable with that, you can just have a good cry, maybe in the shower, just cry it out. Crying helps a lot, but personally, I'm not so good at that. And also
crying
journaling.
Who will pay the bills? Who will pay the water bills?
You can cry in your sink. But personally, I find journaling so it helps me a lot, especially for those periodical modes. But then you can find that the issue has been prolonged. It has gone long. You shouldn't stay in a rut for a prolonged time. Like the pity part should end as soon as possible. So if you find that it's something that it keeps on pre-occurring, you should seek a therapist. And actually, I'm not only recommending people to seek therapy when they are in such situations.
Okay.
Therapy should be like the way you take your car for service. You don't wait for a mechanical breakdown to take it for service.
Yeah.
You should go to, it's just like you're servicing your brain. I don't know why we attach so much stigma around therapy. And it's just like taking care of any other part of the body. You won't be ashamed of going to maybe check your blood pressure and such. So why is your mental, which is your key, so stigmatized? So therapy is someone I would recommend to everything, not only for your mental well, but also for your therapists also help as form of a life coach. They guide you on some aspects you may be failing at. Yeah.
So if the crying in the shower doesn't work, if the journaling doesn't work for you, if talking to someone is something that you are not good at, or rather you're not confident about, or you don't even have that person. Sometimes we come from different backgrounds, and we all have our personal stories. So this conversation should not even limit you from the options that Martha has shared. You might look for something that works for you. Like for me personally, as Farida, what has really worked for me, and I've observed that pattern, is writing down my emotions.
It helps.
And when I write down whatever I'm going through, and then I give it to someone to read it, they will directly get what is really happening to me, rather than me speaking it out, because I tend to get so emotional and I'll break down on the moment. So even if I don't have somebody who can read it, I will just write it down on my phone, on my notepad, place it there. Sometimes I write it down, and then after some time I go back and read it now, like I'm reading somebody's story. Read it, and then it will bring down the emotions to me, and it will bring my senses and my thinking back, and that is where I will sit and decide, you know what, this is not me, this is what I want. And if you're very keen, for those who are already following me on Instagram, my captions are usually very deep.
So you're
if you realize that it's connected to who I am personally. So I might share the whole story, or rather share it as a lesson. And sharing it as a lesson now is now the reflection of whatever I have gone through. So that is why I'm very keen on whatever I post, and very, very strategic. It's usually a point of me pouring it out. And I'm not forcing everyone to do this. And I'm usually very keen. If it's something is very sensitive, I turn off the comment. So I put it there as a point of reference. I put it out there as something that somebody else might need and exactly. And even reach out to me and even have a conversation, because I believe that I don't know everything. And once I share something like that, Martha, as my friend, will see it. And I'm not putting it as an expectation, but that one only can tell you Farida is not okay. Yesterday I was with my cousin, and I was hanging out with a very close friend of mine. And you know what he was saying? He was like, there's a time, Farida, you stressed me. You're not picking my calls, you're not doing anything. But nimeketi tu kidogo naona bas, umesha post Instagram.
Actually, that I wanted to
wewe uko sawa. So
actually that is something I wanted to point out. The burden of cultivating your own psychological well-being should not only be put on yourself. The people close to you should be keen at, especially in this age where the mental illnesses are very prevalent. My tongue. Prevalent. We should be very keen about. Like, I know how, let's say you're my sister or my friend, I know how you are normally. So if I start noticing like changes in your behavior, maybe you've become more withdrawn, you should try to seek help for that person. And also something I didn't mention when I was giving some of the things you can do, like physical activity. is a top tier form of psychological self-care. Like I can tell you, just sweating out here, like maybe just doing my own home workout, just sweating it out, the release of the dopamine hormone actually improves your psychological well-being. And also stepping outside, especially if you're working from home, there's that thing called the cabin fever. When you stay in the house for too long, you can actually become psychologically distressed
and
go
even
out,
sick.
Go out, connect with nature, see other people, even if it's just a 10 minutes walk. Get back to the house. And also watch what you eat, because actually they're all connected. Make sure you physically, psychologically, professionally, spiritually, and socially well groomed.
I really feel where you're coming from, because from the point of, with my history, I've not been employed for quite some time, and I tend to have a lot of free time if I don't have activities here and there, handling projects. So sometimes I might even spend like 3 days in my house. I've not even stepped out. But with that pattern, and when I became so keen about my well-being, I might stay in the house for the whole day, but in the evening I decide to take a walk. I'll just go out, walk around even my house, and then come back to the gate and come back in the house. Or even go to the rooftop. Sit, just observe the houses and everything. It helps. Instead of staying in an enclosed space for too much.
And also getting back to what we were saying about how you can check like through journaling, you can start noting down your triggers. Like recently I just noticed that whenever I take too much coffee, I start feeling anxious for no reason. So you should note down such triggers or such things that also like triggers. Maybe listening to a song that reminds you of a sad or regrettable memory. You should avoid that. And still taking that part of like songs are like the ideal time machines. You can just remember a time in your life when you were happy, maybe when you were younger. Play that 2014 pop
So
playlist.
that brings the mood back.
It brings back the mood, and you'll feel the happiness you felt at that time. So there's so many ways to go about self-care. You can check on Pinterest, on YouTube, but it all boils down to we should all seek therapy while also taking all these things. Therapy is king.
Normalizing seeking help from a therapist or even the closest people we have in our circle is very important. And that is the message we are trying to pass across using our own personal journeys and our personal experiences. We've not gotten there yet. I don't want people to assume that, hey, Martha and Farida
also a
has
disclaimer,
it
we are not like practitioners, we are not practitioners. We are not licensed, we're just sharing. So you shouldn't take this as the biblical truth. It's always good to take everything with a pinch of salt.
Exactly. So we are sharing from our own journeys, which we acknowledge the fact that we have not gotten there yet, and it's a process. It's a process. A message now I would also wish to pass to anyone who is watching is the fact that even if you pick everything that we've said about, you can consume any kind of content about well-being and mental health out there. You can have a supportive family and a supportive circle of friends. But you know what? At the end of the day, are you ready as an individual to take that journey?
And to accept you're not okay.
That's the most important thing.
Acceptance is the first stage to healing.
Exactly. Because you might tell me, Farida, I've realized that you've changed this. Are you really okay? As a concerned friend. But if I am not ready, if I am not willing to even have that conversation or even walk with you in that path, there's no way I can get out of there. It's like when you're advising someone, especially with the heartbreaks, you're telling someone, that girl is not good for you, or that guy is not good for you. No matter how many advices you give that person, you might even take them to, Maldives for a vacation. But at the end of the day, whatever decision they make themselves.
And also we should normalize not rushing the healing process. Allow yourself to grieve, even maybe after a loss of a relationship, after a loss of a friendship, after a loss of a job. Allow yourself to grieve. Like when you feel those emotions, allow yourself to know that you're not okay, and it's okay to feel that way. Just go through it, but give yourself a timeline. You shouldn't be in a pity party for a whole month. Give yourself a timeline. Tell yourself you're going to be sad for this long. If it prolongs that and you can still not get yourself up on your feet, seek help.
Wow. So, if you're given a microphone
Yeah.
to speak to the world, what is that message would you tell them about the aspect now of self-reflection?
Wow, I never thought about that. But what I will say is cultivate your psychological well-being, and you'll find that you'll be able to perform well in all the other aspects of your life. And don't be selfish in that journey. Make sure that your neighbor, your friend, your sister as well is psychologically well. There's so many ways to tell by checking up on them, even especially via a phone call. There's something that my mom stresses so much. You guys don't be so obsessed with chatting. You can't tell how someone is by chatting. Someone will send you a whole list of emojis and you think they're okay. But a phone call speaks 100 words. You can tell a shift in the mood. You can tell maybe someone is withdrawn. So normalize talking frequently to your friends, maybe face to face if the distance doesn't allow. Normalize making frequent phone calls. Yeah.
What is that one thing that if you had superpowers will change about the society and the world we live in today?
I'll make everyone psychologically okay. Yeah, if that was possible.
Yeah.
Like we can struggle about the finances. Let us starve, but let everyone be psychologically okay. Yeah.
My final message to everyone is let us build a supportive community.
Yeah.
In as much as self-reflection, mental health and well-being is a personal journey, but at the end of the day, are you creating a supportive community? Are you creating a supportive society whereby we can dwell and exist peacefully and also get to practice most of whatever we have learned from this conversation that I've had with Martha? So kindly tell our audience, where can they reach out to you? How can they get to consume your content?
So you can get me on YouTube at Martha Monyeke, on Instagram at __M, like EM. But you're so welcome to my channel. That's where you're going to get all the nuggets that I'm learning along the way, and we can learn together. Yeah.
Thank you for watching until the end. Kindly make sure you subscribe. Most important, let's engage in the comment section. Yeah, if you have any response, any feedback concerning this conversation, kindly be sure to drop your comment. I shall respond to the comment, and if Martha gets time too,
I sure will.
You will. Yeah. She has promised, and we've recorded it on camera. So she will come there and will respond and even further this conversation, and it might even guide us to the kind of conversations we should or rather look forward to having in my YouTube channel and in her YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Thank you. Till next time. Bye.
Bye. Mwah.